it should make it make a whole lot more sense. But we will go ahead and talk a little bit about Whitman and Dickinson so that we can talk about it together in case you have questions. I will also ask a big favor. Today, I mean, I'm still congested, so please don't mumble and stuff because I can't hear very well. So if you ask me a question, make sure you ask me loudly, but if you are asking a question, please don't mumble and stuff because I can't hear. I'm sure she's in the same situation I am in. Okay, so let's look quickly at Walt Whitman. Whitman and Dickinson. We are now and if you remember Melville also, we also just finished Melville. Okay, we've also talked about Melville. Melville, Whitman, and Dickinson are all American authors, and we have now moved to the New World. We are, we're more in a world that we can kind of relate to, in some senses, you could think. For one thing, here I'll put some images up for us just to look at of Walt Whitman. Both Whitman and Dickinson, we've got photographs of these people, so at least there's some sense it may feel a little bit more like we're in a modern era. You can just Google Walt Whitman, and let's see. This is, he was a publisher, or he worked in printing at least. This is the image that he selected. He chose this. He had this picture of himself put on the frontispiece of his work, Leaves of Grass, from which we get Song of Myself. This is the picture he wanted. Now, when we think about, like, would that be Alexander Pope? I mean, what does this guy look like? Think about what he looks like for a minute.
A slob.
Pardon?
A slob.
A slob. Okay, he looks kind of like a slob. Yes, he does. What else?
A vagabond.
What? Yes? Wait, who said? What does he look like?
A drunk?
A drunk? Kind of looks a little drunk. Maybe a drunk? What?
Yeah, I said a vagabond. But
A vagabond? Okay. He looks like he could be a factory worker. Okay. He doesn't look like Alexander Pope, does he? The guy that wrote those nice rhymed couplets and all of that, not heroic verse. He is, I mean, what he's trying to give us is an image of the common man, the image of the common laborer, the working man, every man. But he's also got this very kind of, I mean, what's the deal with the hat and the head to the side and one hand on his hip, and what's his attitude?
Arrogant.
judgmental.
Arrogant.
Arrogant? Arrogant, yeah. Maybe judgmental, you said?
That's what I said.
Okay. Sure of himself, right? And then when we look at, let's look at the poetry then on page 982. What is the poem that we're reading on page 982? This is in volume E, page 982. What is the thing we're reading by Whitman?
Song of Myself.
Song of Myself. I mean, that's very, it looks like the kind of thing that would be written by a guy who chooses that for his picture, right? Which sounds arrogant, self-centered, I am the best, and all this. But at the same time, he's just kind of this ordinary, you know, working man guy. And so, when you're looking at it, if you read the whole, I mean, these are just excerpts from Song of Myself, but he is writing, these are American poets, he is American, okay? He's American, and if we just read, that first canto on page 982, I celebrate myself and sing myself, and what I assume, you shall assume. For every atom belonging to me is good I loaf and invite my soul. I lean and loaf at my ease, observing a spear of summer grass. My tongue, every atom of my blood, formed from this soil, this air, born here of parents, born here from parents the same, their parents the same. I, now 37 years old, in perfect health begin, hoping to cease not till death. Creeds and schools and abeyance, retiring back a while, sufficed at what they are, but never forgotten. I harbor for good or bad. I permit to speak at every hazard, nature without check, with original energy. What he wants to, it's like, he's going to let energy, nature without check, with original energy is going to speak here. But he says, I celebrate myself. Now, here's a question. Are we, and with Melville, we're kind of going, are we in romanticism? Or are we in realism? The same thing here. Is Whitman a romantic? And we want to keep in mind that the romantic vision does involve the I, that first person perspective, the individual. It also is kind of connected to the democratic spirit, okay? That democratic spirit. There's something to that with the romantic, that romantic ideal. And so we get that I celebrate myself and I sing myself. How is it that he can be so pompous and arrogant, but he's also part of that democratic vision, that idea of democracy? I mean, he was a nurse. I mean, at that time, men would be nurses for the war, the military. He was on the northern side serving as a nurse for the troops in the Civil War. I mean, how does that fit with his attitude, you know, standing there like this, and then I celebrate myself, and then the Civil War and America? Tell me how all of that might go together. How do you put all that together?
Maybe save some lives.
Okay, saving some lives. Okay, saving lives would be important. The individual life is important. How do we reconcile that with his kind of arrogant, I'm standing here? Because he saved lives, he's kind of arrogant, you think?
It's difficult to do that because as a nurse, he went on battle. I mean, he was in the army, so maybe he fought, and some of his friends who got injured or something, he went to them, came back with them and like hated them.
So maybe he's got that pride from helping them?
Yes.
Okay, okay. How about this idea though in the poem that he's celebrating himself, and is that a very democratic spirit? Yes.
I wonder if like because he's a nurse and because he's poured himself out so much into other people, if maybe he just wants to take a moment to look at himself for a little bit. I don't know.
Okay, so maybe because he has reached out, now he's also celebrating himself in the poem, perhaps. And there is kind of this weird two-sidedness to the poem, because he says, I'm just celebrating me, right? But then look at that next line. Look at the second line. What I assume, you shall assume. For every atom belonging to me as good belongs to you. So he is celebrating. He is, yay, I'm happy about who I am, and I am myself, and all of this. But then is he being pompous and saying what I assume, you assume? Or if we go,
maybe he's using the poem as a decoy for like self-worth. Like he's describing how he's good, or he celebrates himself, and you know, he's proud of himself, he's proud of what he does, but everybody should be proud of themselves.
yeah, because he's saying it's like, I am great and wonderful. but it's not like I am uniquely great and wonderful. He is uniquely great and wonderful, but so is everybody else. Exactly. Because he says, what I shall assume, well, you can assume it too. If it belongs to me, this greatness, if it belongs to me and I'm proud of myself, it can belong to you too. And so he goes farther as you keep on going through the poem, looking at, for instance, 16, Canto 16, at the bottom, 983. I am of old and young, of the foolish as much as the wise, regardless of others, ever regardful of others, maternal as well as paternal, a child as well as a man, stuffed with the stuff that is coarse and stuffed with the stuff that is fine, one of the nation of many nations, the smallest the same and the largest. I mean, he gives you just like one set of opposites after another. And then you've got, and I'm on page 984, and I'm just going to skip through some of the words. Southerner, Northerner, Yankee, Kentuckian, Louisianian, Georgian, Boatman, Hoosier, Badger, Buckeye, Canadian snowshoes, Newfoundland, Vermont, Maine, Californians, Northwesterners. I mean, basically, is there anything that is not there? It's just everything, right? Now, this is what, 1800s, late 1800s in northeastern United States, okay? Late 1800s. And then what is the vision for America at that time? Think about this. I mean, this kind of general movement, right? You've got, I mean, what is he celebrating here? Freedom.
Diversity.
Diversity. Yeah, freedom, diversity, kind of that adventure spirit, that optimism, the going west and discovering something new. 21, he says, I am the I'm the poet of the body and I'm the poet of the soul. The pleasures of heaven are with me, the pains of hell are with me. The first I graft and increase upon myself, the latter I translate into a new tongue. I am the poet of the woman, the same as the man. And I say it's as great to be a woman as to be a man. I mean, he's embracing absolutely everything. And there's a point at which I start getting, okay, it's like I get annoyed with him. I'm thinking, he's just giving a list of everything that you can come up with as opposites. You know, it's like you could get a list of opposites and then write them out, and he doesn't even bother to make them rhyme. And why is this poetry? I'm starting to think, you know, this is just annoying. But he's doing something new. Because if you think about it, we started with Alexander Pope, right? We had those heroic couplets. 2 lines, a rhymed iambic pentameter, nice and structured, everybody's in their class. You know, either you sit in the salon or the nice drawing room and you play cards with the people in your class, and then the servants come in and wait on you, and everybody's got their role in place. And now, I mean, not only are those roles and places kind of shattered and moved around because we're in the new world, we're in America, and it's great to be in Georgia or Canada or California or wherever, but look at the structure of the poem on the page. If I gave you lines from Pope and lines from Whitman, you could tell me which one is which based on just glancing at the shape of the lines. Because it's like some of the lines are really long, they don't even fit on the line, and then some of them are really short, right? He's breaking all of the traditions there, okay? And we even go back all the way to your English 101 and 102, if you had 101 and 102 here. What are the first things that you read here in 101 and 102? You remember?
The Iliad and the Odyssey.
The Iliad and the Odyssey, and what is it? Invocation of the Muse, exactly. All of those epic poems start with the invocation of the Muse, right? Sing about is the rage of Peleus' son Achilles. So we start with the invocation of the Muse, which we also saw mocked in Alexander Pope, in that mock epic, right? Say, what strange motive goddess could compel a well-bred lord? Well, you don't need the gods to tell you when you get to America, right? So what does he say? He doesn't have the gods sing. He says, I celebrate myself. I sing myself. And so he breaks with that. I mean, and we've seen that. I mean, I think it's really interesting that we start in 101 with Rage Goddess, seeing the rage of Peleus' son Achilles. You start with that form, and you can trace this all the way through to probably what Europe would say is, Europeans would probably say that Whitman is the greatest American poet, because he takes that 2,000, 3,000 year tradition of poetry that's structured. You start with that major structure in the epic, come forward all the way through, you know, whatever, all the epics, the romantics, and then through Pope. And now we've got I celebrate, I sing myself. And so there's that celebration of the individual human heart and human spirit here. Now, that is Whitman. We've got at about the same time, and in terms of all this, just keep in mind if you see it on the test, if you see opposites in a line of poetry, or some weird line about some state somewhere, that's probably Whitman. Just keep that in mind for the test. Okay, let's move on to Dickinson, because you should have already watched the videos on Dickinson, but I want us to talk about 1129 on page 1057. So we're moving ahead to Dickinson super fast. I don't know what we call Dickinson in terms of her style. I don't know if it's called romantic or realist or what.
1057 or 1051?
Sorry, it's page 1057 and it's poem 1129.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry. Can I get someone to read 1129? Oh, wait a minute. Do I have a voice person, a voice major in here?
Yeah.
You sing? Megan?
I'm not going to sing this poem.
Oh, come on.
I'll sing it. You won't
No.
like it, but I'll sing it.
Come on, Megan.
No.
All you have to know is the tune to Gilligan's Island's theme song.
No.
What?
I'm going to pretend I don't know that.
I'm serious. Okay, but if we all sing it together, do I have somebody who's in conducting class?
Bethany.
Oh.
What? Are you in conducting class? Okay, people, I can't sing it. Okay, will you do it for me?
Sure, I'll do it.
All right. Thank you, Zach. All right, 1129. Now, somebody help me with what does the Gilligan's Island theme song sound like?
Oh, gosh.
No, this is on the, yes. Okay, here we go.
Oh, dear.
Here we go. 1129. Everybody, Zach will start and we will sing along.
There's a lot of people in this room. All right.
2, 3, go.
Wait, how does it go again? How's the song go? Okay, that doesn't help me out much, but okay.
Tell the truth.
But tell its slant success in certain lies, too bright for our infirm delight, the truth's superb surprise, as lightning to the children east, with explanation kind. The truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind.
Okay. Thank you.
American Idol, who recognized?
Thank you for being willing to do that.
Wow, I was way off.
There we go.
I wasn't anywhere close.
Okay, that's okay. You were better at that. You were closer than I was. Okay. All right. The thing about Emily Dickinson is that she's writing to something called hymn meter. Most of her poems can actually be sung to the Yellow Rose of Texas, or Amazing Grace, or the Gilligan's Island theme song, or anything else that fits that meter. So there are all sorts of, also I guess lots of hymns can be swapped back and forth between hymns, but between the music. But it helps if you're trying to learn the poems. You can remember them that way, or you will never forget them, which can be really annoying. But what I want you to do is just, yes, do look at this. Can you just read us the poem now, please?
Sure.
1129.
Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in certain lies. Too bright for our infirm delight, the truth's superb surprise. As lightning to the children eased, with explanation kind. The truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind.
Now, I always choose this poem as probably the starting point for Dickinson, because there is so much that we come to college with thinking about Emily Dickinson that it's important. I mean, what do you know about Emily Dickinson from high school?
She was a recluse.
She was a recluse.
Yeah.
All right. What about her poetry?
It's all kind of dreary and sad.
Pardon?
Wasn't it all kind of sad and dreary, like about death and stuff?
I thought.
Dreary, sad about death. She hid in her room. She was a recluse and wore white. And that's. She sounds depressed.
Except for
But she's not actually. Everybody thinks she's depressed, but she's not depressed.
Except everybody thinks she's depressed, but maybe she's not depressed. Okay.
Right.
And so, but what happens then is that I regularly get papers about how she was crazy and that's why she wrote sad poetry.
Yeah.
But that's not where we want to go with this, okay? We want to think a little bit more carefully about her poetry, and 1129 gets us started on that. So I want us to think about, what does this mean? Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. What does that mean? Pardon? Tell it from your perspective.
Bending the truth.
Bending the truth.
Breaking it to someone easy. Like, you don't want to be like, hey, your dad's dead. You kind of want to
Good word.
slowly let people figure it out.
Break it to them easily, because, yeah, you don't want to shock them, right? If somebody's dead, you don't just go up and say, hey, they're dead, you know. Did I have an idea back here?
I said sugarcoat it.
Sugarcoat it. Make it easier to go down. Okay? So you're going to tell them the truth, but maybe not straight on, right? Success in circuit lies.
Circuit lies.
What
Well,
is...
Like you're
in circuit,
Yes.
beating around the bush.
Beating around the bush. What does circuit mean?
Circle.
A circle, right. So the success, if you're going to tell the truth, you will get success by going in a circle, if that's where we break the line, okay? So tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in circuit lies. So you'll successfully tell the truth if you tell it in a circle. The truth lies in going in a circle. Or the truth lies when you go in a circle. What does lies mean?
In
What?
which form?
What?
does she mean the placement of the success, or does she mean
The action.
like a fib?
Does she mean, exactly, that's it. Does she mean the placement of the success, as in it lies and going in a circle, it sits there by going in a circle, or does she mean telling a fib? Yes.
Both?
Yes. Which is exactly what those two lines say, right? Because you're telling all the truth, but you're telling it slant, but you can't do that because if you tell it slant, it's not all the truth, but you can't tell it straight on. And so success in circuit lies. So you're successful in conveying the truth if you lie about it, or you're successful in telling the truth because you lay it down in a circle, and it's both at the same time.
So, but depending on how you view that, that's going to change your perspective on the rest of the poem. Is that what she was trying to get across?
Sort of, yes. Exactly.
I'm confused.
Exactly.
Good. Now, yes, exactly.
I'm right, but I don't know that I'm right.
Niece, are you confused?
Yes, ma'am.
You're right where you're
always
supposed to be. Exactly. That's it. You've got it. You have it then. Exactly. The word lie means to not tell the truth, and it means to sit there in a circle.
It's a pun.
Kind of, sort of, yes.
So the whole point of like the circuit was just like you're not truthful, but you are truthful.
Uh-huh.
Who? Like her or them?
Everybody?
Everybody.
The reader.
Because now we've got more trouble here. There's more trouble. Okay. Success in circuit lies too bright for our infirm. Why is there nothing? Where does the sentence start?
Success. I mean, it carries over into the next line.
Does it?
Well, not with the rhythm of the poem, but
Well,
she doesn't put a comma.
Right.
would success not be like the subject of the sentence and then it ends kind of at delight, sort of?
Yeah. Sort of. Okay, so success is the subject. Success lies in circuit. So success is sitting there in a circle, or success is deceiving in a circle, either one. And then too bright for our infirm delight. First of all, tell me, what does infirm mean? And I will say,
Doesn't that mean sick?
Sick, yes. And what I would do when you read these, I would put the little words out there, what it means. Infirm means sick, yes.
Excuse me, ma'am. So the first two lines, you said what the first two lines mean?
Okay, the first two lines mean, well, we're going to tell the truth, but in a crooked way. Okay?
You tell
Ooh, a
the
crooked
truth
truth.
in number.
Comes in and says, does this dress make me look fat?
You say
Let's
no.
say no.
You're supposed to
You
say
say
no.
no.
You say, you just look really good. But you also, and you are never ever supposed to say, that's a great new dress. Because it may be that they've worn it before. So you just say, you look really nice today. Or something, it's like, don't say it straight out.
Or you could say, that's not my favorite. 'Cause
Yeah.
the girl really does not want you to lie, in all honesty. You could just say, that's not really my favorite dress on you.
Yes.
I was at the administration and a woman walked by and she said, do I look nice in that dress? And the woman was walking there told me to just smile if somebody asked me that.
Yes. You just smile. You just smile. That's it.
Because I didn't know what to say. She said, just smile.
Exactly. And so that's it. That's it. So it's just tell it slants success and circuit lies. You don't answer those questions straight on. It's dangerous. Because, and now the next line, too bright for our infirm delight. And infirm means sick. So what does it mean that, okay, shh, too bright for our infirm delight, the truth's superb surprise.
We can't handle the complete truth.
We can't handle the complete truth. Good. Now, think about this in terms of ultimate truth. Okay? Think about this. What is ultimate truth? Or where is ultimate truth?
Which perspective are you asking?
And just not holding anything back with what we say.
Well, she's got truth capitalized here. Now, she capitalizes weird
You
stuff.
talking about the Bible?
Okay. Maybe that, I think she's echoing that at least. Because it's too bright for our infirm delight. Now, is truth a good thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Who has ultimate all of the truth? Where would that be? Where could you see it if you could see it? God, right?
The Word.
Pardon the Word. God. Has anyone seen God?
No, none of us have.
Too powerful for our eyes. Didn't Moses kind of see?
He saw his back.
Okay. Saw this, and so then he came down from the mountain, and what did the people make him do?
Veil
He had to veil his face because he was so bright. And I think that, it's kind of that traditional image of truth and light being all together. But she's echoing that. Dickinson is echoing that. She's saying, look, if we just saw God, if God in all of his glory, splendor, truth, and goodness and everything just popped into the room, wouldn't we kind of all be vaporized? It would just get us, right? Because we can't see God we're fallen beings, right? Now, I'm putting this into very Christian terms where Dickinson isn't quite so overtly Christian, but it's that same idea that we don't have the capacity to hold all truth within us. We can't see it all. So she says, too bright for our infirm delight is the truth's superb surprise. So she compares this to lightning and children. Does anybody in here have kids? Yes, you have kids. That's right. When it lightnings and thunders.
I have a child.
A child.
Clarify.
Okay. A child. How do you explain lightning?
How would I explain it to her?
Yeah. Like when
it's just bright, it makes a noise.
And she's like, it's gonna get me.
No, Jesus is bowling.
Oh, it's Jesus is bowling.
That's what I tell kids that I babysit.
Okay. Do you tell her Jesus is bowling or?
No, I have not.
That's what my grandpa told me when I was little. That's what my granddad told me when I was a kid, so I use it.
Okay, so, what does he say? Drew. No, I want to know this.
I said it's Google Earth taking a picture.
Hey, that's really cool. Google Earth taking a picture. That would only work today. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Google Earth is taking a picture of us. So, although that's a little creepy. That's kind of like Big Brother is watching. But think about if you've got a 3 or 4-year-old who already doesn't want to sleep at night, are you going to tell them that that is a gigantic electrical charge and discharge?
And it can kill you.
And it can kill you, and you will, like...
My child would just try to get around there when the disease that bad.
Pardon?
She's just probably trying to catch it or something.
Oh, that'll make it more interesting?
Disease that bad.
Because it's that bad.
Remember, I can't hear. Okay, but what do we usually do? We do try to, I mean, a lot of people grew up with it's Jesus bowling or it's God moving his furniture or something like that.
I think my mother-in-law tells her things like that.
Okay.
She's come home and she said something, I'm like, how did you know that? And she's like, Dee told me.
Yeah.
Those little kids went home and told their mom that too, and she stuck with it.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's like, but that's a way that way it's a kind explanation. Okay, so as lightning to the children eased with explanation kind. Now look at the last 2 lines of the poem here. The truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind. What does the word dazzle? Just tell me what it means to dazzle someone.
You see stars.
See stars? What?
Fascinate.
Fascinate. Yes. Charm. When is it dazzling? Are you just sort of all of a sudden overcome, or are you dazzled over the course of a few months as you think about it?
No, it's an immediate kind of thing.
Immediate kind of thing, kind of like Cinderella with the swirling lights when she sees the fairy godmother. She's dazzled all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
So it's something quick. So what is Dickinson doing here when she says, the truth must dazzle gradually?
Must be looking at easy.
Yeah, we've got to get into the truth slowly, whether it's good truth or bad truth. We can't handle either kind of truth if it runs over us, even the good stuff. If we saw God face to face right now, we'd just be smashed. So, which sounds funny when I'm congested, smashed. But she's just, it's like she's saying we have to kind of ease into the truth. We can't know it all at once, or every man would be blind. I mean, you can think about this even with things like if you're in ministry, if you're going into worship leadership or something, you don't go up to people and say, well, you're going to hell because you don't believe this, this, and this, and you don't live this way. Well, they're going to listen to you, right? No, you don't just go up to people and tell them something like that, right? I mean, if you're going to convey the mercy of, or maybe you do, I don't know, y'all are laughing at me. But
We made a joke about it.
But if you want to convey the truth to someone, there is a sense in which she's saying you do it gradually. Now, this goes with the rest of her poetry, okay? Because a lot of her poetry, it's true, is about death. Now, let's look at .465 on page 1054. This is, I heard a fly buzz when I died. I heard a fly buzz when I died. The stillness in the room was like the stillness in the air between the heaves of storm. The eyes around me wrung them dry, and breaths were gathering firm for that last onset, when the king be witnessed in the room. I willed my keepsakes, signed away what portion of me be assignable, and then it was that he proposed a fly, with blue, uncertain, stumbling buzz between the light and me. And then the windows fell, and then I could not see to see. Now, a lot of her poetry is about death. It's true, when she was young, she lost a lot of young friends to death. She saw a lot of her, friends in their teens and maybe early 20s die. she is, what is she telling us about death? What happens here? What is, does this seem happy, sad?
It seems sad, like she's giving, like, things away.
Okay.
She's letting go. I'm just like,
Okay, letting go, willing things away that can be willed away. And then what happened? What was death like?
it's like the end of a movie. It's just like the screen goes black.
The screen just goes black. What does she think of death?
It doesn't look very positive.
I mean, I think she's acceptant of death. Like,
Okay.
she's not afraid of it, but it's not something that she thinks about or like,
She's like accustomed to it.
yeah,
She's different now.
because, she's never died before, obviously, so.
Yeah.
It's new.
It's
And then it
new.
says it says uncertain, and then it goes to say, then you cannot see.
And why does she say, I could not see to see?
It got in her way.
Okay.
Something got in her way.
And
So
the
she
win-
couldn't see.
What are the windows that failed?
Her
I'm
eyes.
sure her eyes.
Okay. So what does she think happens after death? Or what does this poem say happens after death? What is this?
You just kind of lose your senses.
Do we know what happens after death?
No, maybe she wrote this to ease her mind, like to make herself think that's what happens.
Maybe she means that, the windows failed, she couldn't see to see because she couldn't see past death. She couldn't see what was coming.
Yes.
It's
So
just mysterious.
does she say what happens after death?
No.
No. She says, I can't see what happens after death, right? So she says, the speaker, and be careful because you've also got poems by Dickinson where it seems like a happy thing. People die and they're in their graves and they're talking to each other. And they're just kind of happy after death. And so, but the thing is, we don't know, right? Now, we have faith, right? I mean, if we're Christian, we believe that there is life after death, right? But do we know? I mean, have we got, letters from the other side or something that, we don't, typically people don't come back and say, this is what's over there and which apartment do you want me to get you and all of that. It's not like that. It's not that tangible empirical evidence. That's what she's doing with the poetry here. She's telling the truth, which is, I was waiting for the king. She was waiting for the last onset when the king be witnessed in the room. So everybody is waiting for, who would the king be to come? Jesus, yeah. Waiting for God to come and take her, Jesus to come and take her to heaven. But on this side, all we know is that then there was this fly in the room, and there's no more communication about it. Now, she's got other poems about death that aren't so uncertain. But think about the fact that the poem doesn't answer the question. Okay? You want to keep that in mind for next time. Okay, don't everybody move around too much. We're reading Ibsen. It's on page 1460. Hedda Gabler starts, it's volume E, page 1460. Now, another thing, you do not have a literary post this week. What I would like for you to do is, number one, Friday I will be here in the classroom from 10 till 11 if you want to come talk to me about your papers. I would like for you to start thinking about your thesis statements. What is your paper going to be about? Think about what you're going to write about and write a sentence or two for your post on what you're going to write your paper about. If you can get a thesis statement, that's great. I won't be grading them like Oh, I mean, you're not set in stone. This is a place where you can start thinking about themes, ideas, and that sort of thing. So your post for this week is to put something up about your paper, your thesis statement. Don't just say I'm writing about Dickinson or whoever. Say something about the work. And then on Friday, I will be here with your annotated bibliographies and to help you with your papers if you would like help. It's a workshop day.
You gave me my bibliography. Was I supposed to give it back?
Did I have a grade on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Then if I've already given it back, then no, you're good. These are ones that if I haven't graded them, I'll give back the ones I have not yet given back on Friday.
For the people who won't be here, will there be another workshop for our paper due?
Yes, we can do that. Yes, definitely.